Millie Bozanich was born in Windsor on January 18, 1953, to George and Eddie Bozanich, who were of Serbian descent. Millie was raised in a home with 6 brothers and 6 sisters, she being the middle child. After teaching for several years at various schools, she is currently principal of David Maxwell School.
Why did your parents make Canada their home?
They came when they were children here, and their parents brought them over in hopes of a better life than they had in Yugoslavia. They came when they were very young children.
Okay. Tell us about your childhood.
I was raised, I was one of 13 children, and I was raised, my parents spoke English and Serbian in the home all the time. We were raised in the Orthodox faith, attended Serbian church. We kept all the religious holidays in the Serbian Greek Orthodox faith. And we had probably the best of both worlds, keeping the old world traditions, and yet still we were Canadian. As children, we were all born here. So,
Whereabout did you live?
in Windsor, we always lived on the East End in Windsor. I grew up on Drulard Road, and then after my parents' death, my father died in 1970 of cancer, and my mother died in Yugoslavia with me. We were in a car accident in 1976, the summer, and then the family, by then my older brothers and sisters were all married and moved away, and we sold the family home, and everybody, our younger group, family all moved out on their own.
Tell us about your education. Where did you go to school?
I started school at Gordon McGregor Elementary, and attended there until grade 8, and then I went to Walkerville Secondary, and that's all. My entire family did the same thing, went to Gordon McGregor, as did my mother, and went to Walkerville Collegiate. Then I graduated and went to University of Western Ontario in London. I always wanted to be a teacher since I was in grade 3, and went away to university, received my BA from Windsor. I returned to do my 3rd year here, and then went back to London Teachers College and graduated from London Teachers College in '75. And I started teaching, and then I continued getting my specialist in special education, my computer certificate, and my master's in education from the University of Windsor. And then I took the principal's course, which was 2 summers, and received my principal qualifications. And then I continued and received my supervisory officer's papers, which is the highest certificate that you can get in teaching, which qualifies you to become a superintendent or director of education.
You said you wanted to be a teacher always. Why?
My aunt was a teacher, and also I loved my grade 3 teacher, and she loved children so much, and she made school so much fun that I always wanted to be like her. And unfortunately, she now lives, I heard, in Ottawa, so I've never been able to keep contact and let her know what an important role she played in my life. But I never changed my mind. I always knew that's what I wanted, and when I started teaching, I loved it even more than I thought I did.
What was their name?
It was the teacher.
Yes.
Her name was Miss Finch. She was a grade 3 teacher at Gordon McGregor, and apparently has married and moved out and lives in Ottawa now.
What about your aunt?
My aunt is Angie Murgaski. She taught school for 35 years. She just retired 2 years ago.
Okay. Now, describe your present position and a day as a principal.
A day in the life of a principal. Well, I arrive at school usually around 7 o'clock, and that gives me usually a quiet hour from 7 till 8 before parents call and teachers start arriving. And then it's children, and as teachers arrive, my first hour is mainly dealing with parents who call or come into the school with questions or concerns, and with staff. And after I do opening exercises on the PA, my day usually is involved in hearing children come down to show me their work. And sometimes we have children who come down for not so good behavior. I try and encourage as much positive reinforcement as possible. I like to spend as much time as possible with children who are achieving and who are behaving, so they can be rewarded also. But there's times where you have to deal with children who need some discipline because they are not attending in school or whatever. And then my time is split not only between the school, but down at the board office where we have several meetings that are called. So, and meeting with parents. I have a family that's on home education. The mother teaches the children at home. So 3 times a year I go to that home and I visit and evaluate their education there also. So the day, it's hectic. There's never 2 days alike, but I love it. I love it being with the children and in the school and hopefully providing, a good education for those children.
Now, tell me about your accomplishment and achievements as a Serbian, and then we'll go to as a Canadian.
As a Serbian, I can't say anything specifically. I was in high school when my father died, and it was my first year teaching when my mother died. And unfortunately, personally, I haven't kept up the Serbian language at all. As I said, I come from a family of 13 children. The older group, as we call them, the older half of the family, still keep the Serbian tradition language, and usually that's where our Serbian Christmas, as we call it, the Orthodox Christmas, we spend with my older sisters and brothers, because they continue to do the old traditional values in their meals and continue to hold the holidays there. As far as my contribution in the Serbian community, it's nil. I don't continue it. I see myself first as Canadian and Serbian. I think it's important to realize our roots and where we have come from and where our parents were born and what their life was like. There's always a part of me, and I listen with interest in all the news of things that are happening. But unfortunately, with my situation, when I did go to Yugoslavia, because I was really interested to see where my parents were born and their ancestors, it was such a terrible experience for me with a car accident and my mother being killed that it's just sort of, I still listen with interest in news, but it's left a negative.
What about Canadian? As a Canadian?
As a Canadian, contributions, I'm heavily involved with education. I no longer am taking courses right now. This will be my first summer off that I've never taken any courses to further my education. I hopefully will become more involved in children's aid and things that deal with children. I've always either taught summer school or taken courses, so I continue that way. And I'm on numerous committees as part of my job that I continue to work with. So, and part of the principal's job right now, currently we're interviewing. So we interview, and I'm on the selection procedure, which hires new teachers, makes within our system selections for special ed consultant or vice principal and other principals. I'm also on a committee that evaluates vice principals and principals throughout Ontario through a leadership program. So that basically, I'm heavily involved in, it's a labor of love. I love my job.
Now, tell us a little bit more about your children. I mean,
my 400
students.
children here.
Yeah.
It's a mixed neighborhood that we have. We have children that have come from 3 different schools. David Maxwell School received children from a neighborhood school called Percy P. McCallum 3 years ago. They went French immersion. That was my first year here, and we received their English children. And then last year, A to C Richards School, which was the public school, closed. We received families from there. And this year, Holy Family is closing 2 blocks away. So we're receiving children from that. So it's a real mix of children, and I've really worked hard to try and all make them feel like Maxwell children, like we're all one family, because we've had children coming from so many different schools. Our enrollment has continued to increase. Last year, we had to have a double portable built out back. We have now junior kindergarten up to grade 8. And we have a special education class, which is a senior, it happens to be all boys, called a behavior adjustment class. And these are children who cannot function in a regular classroom because of severe behavior problems. So I have a teacher and a child care worker that's in there. We try and integrate them as much as possible and get them ready for secondary school so they can function in a regular school setting. But some of the boys, will not do that. They'll end up probably in a group home, or in different agencies such as Maryvale for children with behavior problems and special needs. So our enrollment is increasing. We're almost at 400 now, and it's nice and healthy, and hopefully it'll continue to grow.
What are your interests and hobbies?
Interest in hobbies, because I am so heavily involved. My day starts at school at 7, and sometimes I'm at home till 9, 10 o'clock at night because of other committees and meetings. It really is. My family always teases me that school is my life, but unfortunately it's off balance at this point in my career. It's only my 3rd year as principal. I was 3 years, I taught for 10 years, I was a teacher, and then I was 3 years as vice principal. Now I'm finishing my 3rd year as principal. And because, I'm eager to do a lot of things and be involved in a lot of committees, I am doing that full time. It is unfortunately right now on balance, and I'd like to see more balance in my life, but doesn't leave much time for hobbies or other interests at this point, besides trying to catch up reading on educational issues.
What about your personal life? Are you married?
I'm single. I live alone. I just purchased a new home. So this summer I hope to spend just time gardening and laying around my swimming pool. I have 13 nieces and nephews, and so that keeps me busy. I'm not only busy with children at school, but at home with nieces and nephews.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Well, thank you.